My record has some, I try to bring personal things from different grooves, different bands, different movie scores I've done, meaning played on. And one of the bands I played in was the Brian Setzer Orchestra. And there was a lot of shuffles, a lot of backbeat. And, kind of patterning the band after a drummer-driven band, meaning I'm not doing any of the writing. I'm at the mercy of, bringing Scott Healy in and, having his writing grace the record and pulling together an album of variety as a producer and putting my stamp on it that way. It's interesting you say there's a lot of drums because the lead trumpet player, Jamie Hovorka, listened to the record and he goes, I thought there'd be more drums on it. And I'm going, what? And then I realized it was a compliment. That was way better than him saying, gosh, there's a lot of drums on that. Meaning I guess I played musically, so it didn't stick out as way too much drums. There's not a drum solo on this, which is good. If someone says, write a feature for the drums, it doesn't have to have a drum solo. It can have little 2-bar, 4-bar things that Scott put in here, and just get in, get out. You can save the big solo for another tune that is longer. Like this tune is 4.5 minutes.
Just a little bit more than 4.
Yeah, 4.5 minutes long. Here, I'll tell you.
And that's a challenge. That was a challenge for me because
yeah.
My stuff is never less than 6.
Yeah. So
never.
4:43. Yeah. So my approach to the band and what I'm picking is not to have tunes get too extended by having, okay, now a second solo with the same backgrounds. To me, that seems redundant, and been there, done that. Also, I'm trying to hide the jazz. Like, try to bring in more listeners than just someone that can really hear. Like, I really enjoyed when you did the more dissonant approach on what you were just demonstrating. Right. And I go, oh, that would be cool, but with the groove where we hide the jazz on the people, and bring more mass people in, because it's a small market, meaning if you're just going, this is jazz, it's almost like a dirty word to some people, So, Scott played with Conan for many years, but how many times did they have a jazz group on the show?
Well, they had Tony Bennett.
Yeah. So, Brian Setzer, we got on the show many times as a big band because there were vocals, but it was more of a groove and a backbeat and slap bass and seemed to be rocking, and we hid the big band swing on them within the group. So that's what this tune is kind of coming from, that approach, except no vocalist. I can't tell you how many times at my gig a vocalist will come up, with the big band. They see a big band, they get excited. Wow, I could sing with that band. They don't have a singer, they need me. And so, Bernie, if you need a vocalist, I'd love to do it, Oh, okay. And then I look them straight in the eye and I go, we will never have a vocalist. This is a band that features an instrument called the drums. And they usually cower and kind of slide away and never come back to the gig.
You said you wanted a tune that was kind of like, we first started, said like a little bit, an edgy Big Dipper, like a shuffle, and then you said like a buddy tune, like a buddy shuffle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you said tempo about 146, 145, 148.
Yeah, because I checked out like the grooves where it seems to lay good. Like a lot of the buddy charts, the tempos were really great, where they felt good, they laid good under the hands. Shuffles at 144 to 160, like grooving hard. This kind of is in that area of that kind of a tune, the Don Menza tune, or an arrangement.
It's where the eighth notes are fast enough they don't get dull. It doesn't get dull when you have a lot of eighth notes, but you can also really swing it hard.
That being said, Buddy would do that tune at different tempos over the year. It might have been recorded a little slower, and then you start to add some edge on it on live gigs.
Exactly. With that tune, that's exactly
so, in fact, we went through on this very important discussion. How Bernie, I remember the first time we played it and you heard it, you thought, I think it's a little slow.
Yeah, you did it at 135.
Maybe, and it might have been just, oh my gosh, I'm a human. I didn't play to a click track there the first time, I didn't make it quantized. Perfect. And, you know, tempo di lerno, we never rehearse. It's rare that we rehearse with my band. I just put it on the stand, old school. And because, like, to have a rehearsal for the horn guys, just because you wrote 2 tunes, it's a lot of driving to get there, where we could play the tune and just try it out on the bandstand.
So it makes it's very challenging because I wanted to make a real sort of accessible tune. I wanted it to be a tune. At that tempo, it's pretty much got to be either a 12-bar blues or repeated, or else if it's song form, an A-A-B-A form, as this is, ends up being, you only have time for 2 choruses. 2 full, so that's 8 sections basically with the coda. And then you're at 4.5 minutes, and there's just no way around that.
Right.
So I didn't have time to do my long development counterpoint section or change keys or have a second soloist or break it down, or, you know, I sort of had to hit it. And then we wanted a tenor sax solo originally, but then I swapped it out for Ryan Dragon on trombone. So, which is fine because it's a tenor instrument. I just had to rescore a couple.
And maybe that was a harder fit because the trombone is a lower range instrument with backgrounds. But we needed more trombone solos. So,
I know that from my experience, when the backgrounds come in, the trombone players tend to play up. They go up into their higher register. So they just, because then they're loud up there, and that's what.
In fact, I think this solo is 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long solo.
And that's a long, like most of the solos I think every other solo is 45 seconds to a minute at the longest, maybe 30 even sometimes.
Okay, so let's listen to it with the score. I want to listen to it with the score. Then I have breakdowns of the voicings in 2 sections, and then we're going to talk about that. And we'll talk about mixed textures and different ways to mix up unisons and full voice chords and sectional and antiphonal scoring along the choirs and cross doubling. We'll do a little bit of that. Then I want to play it again all the way through with a reduction, which I made a cheesy reduction with finale where you can sort of see how the choirs work together a little better than this with the actual notes.